Alright, hey, this is Combo Envoy again. I'm this time I'm showing you the key cards in my dark deck. So as you can see, the key synchros are Locomotion are Genix, which when it's synchro summon, you can take control of one of your opponent's face-up monsters with the highest level, which is really good and it's permanent. Next is Red Dragon Archfiend. I doubt I have to go into its effect. And of course Red Nova. Now second, just since it's a short trap, the main trap I like to use is Trap Stun. So if I have really powerful monsters like these on the field, I use this. My opponent can't use cards like Magic Cylinder or Ring of Destruction, which kinda helps. And next we'll go to some of the spells I like to use. First off, Leeching the Light, which I select one of my opponent's face-up light monsters. All monsters on my side of the field gain its attack until the end phase, which is really good, especially if you're facing a light deck. But if not, it's kind of useless. So if there's not a light monster in the field, I probably just discard it to use cards like Tribute to the Doom and Raigeki Break. Next card is Mystic Plasma Zone, which increases the attack of all dark monsters by 500, but decreases their defense by 400. That's pretty much the main field spell of this deck, and it kind of is a card that needs to be in the dark deck. Second off is Ring of Defense, which I use to protect myself from Magic Cylinder, since it can reduce all effect damage to 0. Then the second field spell is Savage Colosseum, which means if a monster is able to attack, it has to attack, and the controller gains 300 life points at the end of the damage step. And all face-up attack position monsters that didn't declare an attack are destroyed, which is really good if you can. Stop your opponent's monsters from attacking while leaving it in attack mode, which is kind of good. And last is Kaiser Colosseum. So as long as I have one monster on the field, my opponent cannot place another monster so that they have more than me, which is good for stopping your opponent from building up defenses. Now on to the main monsters that aren't synchros. There's Damage Eater, which if it's in the graveyard, instead of taking effect damage, you gain the damage as life points. Then there's Trap Eater and Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind, since these two are pretty much the main tuners of this deck. Its effect cannot be normal summon instead, but can be special summoned by sending one face-up trap your opponent controls to the graveyard. Its effect, if you control a Blackwing monster other than this card, you can special summon this from your hand. Once per turn, you can have the attack and defense of one of your opponent's monsters, as long as it's face up. And another card is Pitch Black Warwolf, which its effect, as long as this card remains face up on the field, your opponent cannot activate traps during the battle phase, which means if this is on the field, your opponent can't use Magic Cylinder, Scrap Iron Scarecrow, Draining Shield, Sakuretsu Armor, and a whole bunch of other stuff that would really help your opponent. And there's Great Maju Garzette, and you sacrifice one monster for it. The attack of this card becomes twice the original attack of the tribute monster you used to tribute summon this, which it depends on what the monster you use, but since that's only effect, you're going to need other cards to protect yourself, since it's mainly meant for attacking. Next is Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction, and I believe this is a popular monster, so I don't feel like I have to go through its effect. So there. And Earthbound Immortal, Wera Kochiraska. Its effect it's earthbound, so there has to be a field spell on the field or else it's destroyed. And this card can attack your opponent directly. It can't be selected as an attack target. When this card is normal summon, return up to 3 cards you control to your deck except this card, and discard the same number of cards from your opponent's hand at random. This card gains 1,000 attack for each card discarded by the effect, which is actually really good. But the one thing is, like, there's this rule that says if the only monster you have on the field is an Earthbound Immortal, that means your opponent's monsters can attack you directly, which is not very helpful. So you might want to have some other cards to protect yourself if an Earthbound Immortal is the only monster you have on the field. So yeah, this was just a look into the cards of my dark deck, and yeah, that's pretty much it.